Alrighty, I'm Chief Meteorologist Danielle Moss, and I'm here because we are talking about a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for Shelby County. Here's a look at that current radar right now. You guys can go ahead and take it completely full for us there so everyone can see exactly what's going on. There's a few severe thunderstorm warnings that are happening right now. I'm going to zoom into the one that is in Shelby County and if we can just take there we go. For Shelby County, there is a very large severe thunderstorm warning, and it is creating some pretty large hail. As of right now, it looks like the hail size is greater than an inch. The wind speeds are moving around 60 miles an hour. It is a cell that we have been watching at least for the last 30 minutes or so, as anticipating them to issue this severe thunderstorm warning. As of right now, the good news is it's non-rotating. They just issued a second one as well for the storm that is to the north going through Millington. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so that you can see both of these cells and what we are talking about and looking at this point. Once again, if you're just now joining us, there are two severe thunderstorm warnings for Shelby County. One of them is in the Millington area, and the other one is moving through the heart of downtown right now. The one that is moving through Fayette, Shelby, and Tipton County, that was just issued, and it is for hail size less than an inch, moving around 60 miles an hour. It is in effect. We could be seeing some really high wind gusts. This is for Bartlett, Millington, Memphis, Lakeland, Arlington, Munford, Tipton, Atoka, Mason, Braden, Barrettville, Griffin, Woodstock, Rosemark, Idaville. So a very large area of the metro area included in this severe thunderstorm warning. Once again, this is the newest one. I'm going to draw a cone so you know exactly where we are talking about and what exactly is going on. These storms are moving eastward and they're moving pretty quickly, to be honest with you. There's a look at your storm track and what you can expect and when this storm will be arriving. I know it says Memphis at 7:39, but most of us, especially if you are in the 240 loop, you are already seeing this storm impact you right now. Germantown, this storm will be around 7:49 p.m. Bailey around 7:56 p.m. Collierville around 7:59 p.m. Fisherville around 8:01 p.m. Elba around 8:07 p.m. and Hickory Wythe at 8:09 p.m. and Oakland at 8:14 p.m. Griffin at 8:17 p.m. and Moscow at 8:20 p.m. So there's a lot of new information coming in with these storms. There's a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings across the Mid-South, and they've really started to develop here very shortly, to be honest with you. But it is something that we have continued to watch. I'm going to put another storm track on the storm that is moving through Millington. It is a smaller cell, so not seeing as heavy rainfall, but this is for Rosemark at 7:46 p.m., Idaville at 7:53 p.m., Galloway at 7:57 p.m., Braden at 8:01 p.m., Tabernacle at 8:06 p.m., Keeling at 8:09 p.m., Cotton Lake at 8:13 p.m. and Stanton at 8:15 p.m. And once again, just so that you know, there are two severe thunderstorm warnings in effect right now for Memphis, the metro Memphis area, and for Shelby County in general. So really all parts of Shelby County are really about to go through some pretty heavy rainfall, strong storms, high winds, hail as well. The first severe thunderstorm warning, the one that is to the south, in fact, I'll draw it on your screen so that you can see exactly where I am talking about. That storm had hail reports of around 1 inch, and that is radar indicated, but still very scary when you're talking about, this is the storm that I'm talking about with the 1 inch size hail. It's still a very scary situation when you're talking about people being out and about. It is 7:39 p.m. so some people might be out for your Sunday dinner, maybe grabbing something to eat, and make sure that you give them a call and let them know that there are some really strong storms, severe thunderstorms in fact, and we're starting to see this storm really gain intensity as it heads towards southeast Memphis and in Germantown. So I'm going to clear this off your screen just a little bit. And we're going to do a little bit of investigating to see exactly what's going on in this storm. And I will say that this purple hail core is pretty bad, and that's moving right through the 240 loop. And that is going to be headed towards Oakville and Normal right now. I'm going to see what kind of hail size our radar is picking up on it right now. It takes a few minutes for it to populate to get some of that information and some of that data in. But as of right now, it looks like radar indicated per the National Weather Service is our main concern. And yes, as you can see, that is definitely some radar indicated hail, even on our end. And it's saying at least an inch. And this is once again for this thunderstorm that's moving a little bit south of the metro area. But if you're in Whitehaven, you're seeing some pretty heavy rain right now. Definitely some strong thunderstorms moving through that area. I'll go ahead and clear that off for you and put another storm track on it, because you definitely want to know where and when this storm is going to be impacting you. Right now, we're not seeing any rotation, but I will say that when you're talking about 1-inch size hail, that is very concerning, because you could definitely be seeing some damage to windows. You can be seeing some damage to your roof, damage to your cars. There's not much that you can do about hail, but it is very dangerous. You want to make sure that you are inside, obviously. I know that we've had such a beautiful day here in the Mid-South, but unfortunately now we're looking at 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. And as I zoom out just a little bit, this is still taking a look at the hail, because that's our main concern right now with these 2 storms. It looks like we're not seeing that much hail in that second storm. So just keep your eye on this weather. As of right now, they just issued a second severe thunderstorm warning for Fayette, Shelby, and Tipton County. So what they're doing is they're just issuing them out ahead of the storm, trying to get in front of it. I'm going to go back to the radar so that you can see a little bit better as far as rain is concerned, exactly what we're looking at. And that storm that is moving near Millington is really close to the radar site, so it's getting a really good read on exactly what people are looking at and what we are watching for. But I will say this storm that is going south of Millington, this larger storm, is the one that we have been watching very closely here over the last few minutes or so. I'm reading a little bit of data here, trying to make sure that I am up to date and keeping up with the National Weather Service as well. Well, like I said, once again, seeing a lot of heavy rainfall and just a little bit of lightning. So that lets me know that, the storm is not super intense, but it is intense enough for there to be a severe thunderstorm warning. I really do think that hail is really our main concern. And if we take a look at our hail track to see exactly where this storm kind of came from, what it's been producing, this is over the last 2 hours. I know that the system is a little bit slow there, but as you can see on your screen now, all that purple and blue, that lets you know that pretty decent sized hail just south of 240 going towards I-55. And guys, if we can get a camera going up there, that would be absolutely greatly appreciated. I know that the rain is definitely causing a little bit of problems there, but if we can get a camera that is close to that I-55 240 loop, that would be absolutely great for us to show on camera so people can see exactly what we're looking at here. Here's another look at that radar. They're starting to get some hail reports now at I-55 and South Parkway. So that is literally right in the heart of town. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. I'm going to pay closer attention to this storm. I know that if you're watching now and you're in Millington, you're like, hey, this severe thunderstorm warning is impacting me as well. But I do want to make sure that we are keeping a close eye on this storm, because the hail size is definitely measuring at least an inch. And like I said, that is definitely something that you have to pay close attention to and make sure that the people ahead of that storm, they are prepared. So I'm going to draw a cone on it once again. We'll call out some more places, some more towns, so that people can know exactly when it is coming. Germantown and Collierville, it is headed your way, so you want to make sure that you are prepared for that. Oakville at 7:46 p.m., Normal at 7:48 p.m., White Station at 7:53 p.m., Germantown at 7:56 p.m., Cordova at 8 p.m., Bailey at 8:02 p.m., Collierville at 8:06 p.m., Fisherville at 8:08 p.m. and Piperton at 8:10 p.m. So this is definitely a storm that we're seeing a lot of, possibly at least an inch of hail, and that is definitely very large size hail. We're not looking at maybe like a quarter if you are thinking about exactly what size hail that you're looking at. You're trying to get a grasp on how big an inch is. Definitely at least a quarter size hail here that could be falling in the metro Memphis area and right along our interstate system. So around 240 I-55, you're definitely getting some heavy rainfall. Here in Bartlett, we're starting to hear the heavy rainfall impacting us as well. And just so that you know, this is the inside of 240 at Mill Branch. The storm is definitely on the way. You can see those really dark clouds and that little peak of that sunset coming in, and people are driving with their flashers on. That lets you know that the rainfall is very heavy. And just as a reminder, if people are maybe watching us in a restaurant, I will let you know that it is illegal to drive with those flashers on. You definitely need to pull off to the side of the road, and some people are driving fast with those flashers. It's not safe. You need to pull over and make sure that you are in a safe place. Let's get back to the radar. I want to give you guys a closer look at exactly what all is going on, because it's not just here in Shelby County that we're looking at those severe thunderstorm warnings. There's also a severe thunderstorm warning that is a little bit north of Covington. Let's get some information on this storm, and it looks pretty decent. It's small, but it is mighty. This storm is for Lauderdale and Tipton County until 8 p.m. tonight. Radar indicated, definitely looking at some possible high winds, 60-mile-an-hour winds, and it's moving near Covington east at 35 miles an hour. I know a lot of people in Covington are probably in some really unstable homes right now as they still are getting back to normal from the tornado that went through there almost a year ago. So there's still a lot of severe weather that's happening across the Mid-South. It's not just here in Shelby County, but this storm is the largest storm, and it's literally moving through the metro Memphis area right now. So this severe thunderstorm warning, I would not be surprised if it is continued here. And here's the information on that so that you know. It is until 8 p.m. and I would not be surprised if they extended it past 8 p.m. And once again, if you are just now joining us, it is moving east at around 30 miles an hour, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts right now. Radar indicated hail that could be greater than an inch. You could definitely see some damage to your vehicles, maybe even some wind damage as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see some power outages here in the metro area. It just happens. It's that time of the year in the spring where we are continuing to watch some of these severe thunderstorm warnings, and they could be, you know, very dangerous at times. So you need to make sure that you are weather aware. Maybe call someone and let them know that this is happening, because once again, there are 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in Shelby County. The great news is right now we're not looking at a lot of rotation, and I'm about to do a little bit of investigating on my end, but I do say that hail is our greatest risk. And now that we're back, I'll do a little bit of shear. Shear is our rotation in our winds, and once again, it takes a little while for this storm to for the system to catch up with the storm. But both of these severe thunderstorm warnings are going to go to at least 8 p.m. I wouldn't be surprised if they extended it. But as you see now, that one little green speck right now, that lets me know that there's really not much rotation in this storm. And if I zoom out just a little bit to take my eye towards Millington, that is showing me great news as well. No rotation, still concerned about the hail size. And since this storm is moving through the metro Memphis area, let's take a live look outside. This is our T-Dot cam. This is 2:40 and get well. You can see it is absolutely sheets of rain coming down right now. This is what we're talking about. So cars are pulling over to the side of the road. The flashers are on. It is definitely a lot of heavy rainfall. I'm sure there's some hail. You can see the lightning. This is a legitimate severe thunderstorm warning that you are watching right now on your screen. So you need to make a call. Tell people if they're out right now. It's Sunday. People could be leaving late evening service. They could be getting some dinner. Make sure that they are aware to pull over to the side and at least wait to around 8:15 or 8:30 until this storm passes through Shelby County. As of right now, we have definitely been seeing it intensify in the last few minutes. And I'm zooming in because I'm keeping an eye on exactly where that shear was, because we're starting to see the storm kind of get a little bit stronger as it continues to push off to the east. I will say that the lightning in the storm is not that great. That's good news for me. That lets me know that it's not gaining intensity. If we start seeing those lightning strikes really pick up, that could definitely be something of concern. We're going to look at how close the winds are and make sure there's no rotation in that storm. That looks pretty good. I'm really confident in saying that I'm thinking that hail, and there's another look at that hail, could definitely be a large concern for us with this storm system and with this storm that is moving south of the metro area, a little bit south of the 240 loop, still in Shelby County, headed towards Germantown right now and towards Collierville. So if you're tuning in right now, you're trying to figure out what's going on, why I'm on your TV screen, it's because we are watching a few severe thunderstorm warnings here in Shelby County. There's 2 of them in Shelby, and there's 1 in Tipton County, a little bit north of Covington. Millington, and 2 of those storms have pretty good size hail that is radar indicated. We have seen one report from a spotter that says that 240 Midtown towards I-55 South, the winds were greater than 55 miles an hour, maybe some quarter to golf ball size hail. And power outages in Midtown right now. So please make sure that you are charging your cell phones. Make sure that you are prepared to lose power because this storm is moving very fast and the winds are around 60 miles an hour along with it. So make sure that you are prepared for that. I see another report that it's hailing really bad in East Memphis, and that's not surprising because you can see how big that hail core is and how strong it is. So once again, please make sure that you are calling people that live in East Memphis, Collierville, Germantown. Give them a heads up that this storm is still on the way. They did just continue the severe thunderstorm warning. I'm going to read the bulletin really fast so that I can know exactly what's going on and make sure that you guys have the most up-to-date information. They continued it. It's moving near Germantown at 30 miles an hour, large 1-inch size hail. The winds are around 60 mile an hour winds, which is all information that we knew. And it is still until 8 p.m. So once again, make sure that, as you can see, they trimmed it back just a little bit. It's literally for this hail core, and I'm going to draw on the screen once again so you can see exactly which one that I'm talking about, because I don't want you to be confused. That smaller one that's moving through Millington, not that we don't care about it, it's just not as big. It's not causing as much of a concern for us here in Shelby County. It's this one severe thunderstorm warning that is literally moving the 240 loop right now. And here in Bartlett, we're hearing some really heavy rainfall. So if you are, headed toward 385, 240, 40, I-40, I know that the crews that were cleaning up that really bad accident on I-40 and Sycamore View, they probably have had to stop for a second because this severe thunderstorm warning is headed that way. So you need to make sure that you are prepared. So make sure that you know exactly where what's going on. In fact, there's a look at the camera. That's I-40 and Sycamore View. Thank you guys in the back for pulling that up. That's exactly where they were working on that accident. So that's very dangerous. You can see the emergency vehicles still out there from earlier this evening around 4 p.m. where that accident happened. Heavy sheets of rain falling, hail, I'm sure, because this hail core is still very, very strong, and high winds, 60 mile an hour winds. That's something to play with. If you remember last summer, we had a storm that was around the same strength, and it literally popped those power poles in Bartlett. So you need to make sure that you are charging your phones, having multiple ways to maybe make phone calls, maybe make sure that you are still up to date with the latest forecast so you know exactly what's going on, because this rainfall is still making its way through the Mid-South. I will say that the hail core on this storm is getting a little bit better for us. And here's a look at that hail track. So that lets us know how this hail has been moving through. So as you can see, the purple and that blue that's on your screen, that's moving like right near Whitehaven, and I'll use my drawing tool to kind of illustrate it a little bit better since I can't be on screen at the same time there. That lets you see exactly what we're looking at. That lets you know that all through that area, this storm has a history of producing some possibly large size, golf ball size hail. So even if you are at home, you have no intention of leaving the house right now, I would try to at least get your car under a safe place if possible. Don't put yourself in danger if you haven't moved your car just yet, but I will say that if you are in Germantown, this is a great time to make sure that you are prepared. Collierville, the rain is getting closer and closer to you. I'm gonna put another storm track on here so we can get an up-to-date storm track of exactly how far this is going. This is moving around 30 miles an hour. There we go. So Germantown at 7:57 p.m. and just for reference, it is 7:52 p.m. So it's 7:54 p.m. excuse me. So just keep that in mind. Germantown at 7:57 p.m. Cordova at 8:02 p.m. Fisherville at 8:09 p.m. Eads at 8:12 p.m. Elba at 8:14 p.m. Hickory Wythe at 8:18 p.m. Oakland at 8:22 p.m. Griffin at 8:25 p.m. Moscow at 8:27 p.m. and Williston at 8:30 p.m. This is where that storm will be at your doorstep. So please make sure that if you heard your town, your city, your neighborhood called out, you need to make sure that you are at least away from those windows, charging your phones because the worst of the storm is still headed your way. And like I said, what we're looking for right now, heavy rainfall. We saw on those TDOT cameras that rainfall is coming down literally in sheets of rain. So really heavy rainfall. Hail, definitely very large size hail. Golf ball size hail is what we're looking at right now. And that has been the case since this storm really started to form before it got to Shelby County, before it even crossed the Mississippi River to get to Tennessee. So this storm has a history of creating some really large hail. It's something that we've been watching. And here's another look of your complete radar. In fact, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit as you get closer to that 8 p.m. hour. And I still do think that this storm is very strong. So I think they might make an alteration to that box, but that could be extended past 8 p.m. Just so you know, that's just a heads up for it. And as I was looking at this storm that is in South Haven, they just told me that they're going to issue a severe thunderstorm warning for DeSoto County as well. It has not been issued just yet, but it's something that we're going to keep our eye on. And I'll zoom out so we can see exactly what everyone else is dealing with. Most places here in the Mid-South are dry right now. And we are just looking at these two storms, really this one storm that is causing a lot of heavy rainfall, a lot of high winds maybe 60 miles an hour. I will say that our producer just told me that Whitehaven is having some pretty bad power outages. That's horrible right now because I know that a lot of people are probably trying to get ready for your Monday morning at the very least, but definitely expecting some power outages just simply because those winds are moving so high right now. In fact, I'm going to try to see if we can figure out how many power outages we are seeing across the Mid-South and not just here in Shelby County, because it does get to be really high power outages, especially when we're looking at high winds with that rate of 60 miles an hour. In fact, here is an MLGW map right now. It looks like at least 12,000, almost 13,000 customers are impacted right now with outages. So please make sure that you are charging your phones. I cannot emphasize that enough. I'm going to zoom out because they just issued that new severe thunderstorm warning, and it does include Shelby County. And I'm going to read the bulletin. We'll read it together so that we all know. This is for a severe thunderstorm warning for DeSoto County and Shelby County. And it is also for 1-inch size hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds, radar indicated, and it is until 8:45 p.m. So as I suspected, that storm that is moving south of the large storm that we are keeping our eye on that's headed towards Collierville right now. They just redrew that because some of these places are going to be seeing a little bit more rainfall. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit on that new severe thunderstorm warning. There it is. This is in DeSoto County and Shelby County. As you can see, it's moving through Walls, Mississippi, about to cross I-55 in South Haven. If you're in South Haven, you're probably hearing the rainfall, but that's not the worst of it. The worst of the storm is back to the west in Walls, Mississippi. So that is now our main focus point. Both of these storms that you are seeing on your screen right now. I'm going to check out the hail once again to see if things are calming down at all. It looks like both of the storms creating possibly the same amount of hail. I will say that I've seen a picture of at least penny-sized hail that was falling in East Memphis. And the good news is, and I'm sure you're wondering what happened to this other severe thunderstorm warning that is moving near Tipton County, but they have just expired that. So you're going to see one of those boxes fall off your screen here very shortly. But hail is still our main concern for this storm system that we are watching. The one that is in Millington, they're going to make that a special weather statement. So when they do that, that's just them saying, you know, this storm isn't strong enough for the severe thunderstorm warning. Maybe the winds have calmed down to less than 57 miles an hour. So that is something that they have to continue to watch as well. And right now here in Shelby County, the larger storm and the storm that is in DeSoto County, we are seeing that both of those storms are creating some very high winds, heavy rainfall, and definitely a cause for concern. I'm going to put two different storm tracks on there. I'm going to put another storm track on this storm that is still moving through Shelby County first. and then I'll get to the one that is in South Haven. So Germantown at 7:59 p.m. and just for record, it's 8 o'clock. So if you're in Germantown, this storm is definitely still headed your way. The worst of it, really the core, where that hail is really being formed. That is where we're seeing some really strong hail size. Bailey at 8:05 p.m. Collierville at 8:08 p.m. Fisherville at 8:12 p.m. Elba at 8:16 p.m. Rossville at 8:18 p.m. Oakland at 8:24 p.m. Moscow at 8:29 p.m. Williston at 8:32 p.m. and Somerville at 8:36 p.m. The worst of this storm is headed your way. Please make sure that you are in your safe place right now. Make sure that you have a way to get multiple notifications, because we're talking about some really high winds, heavy rainfall. And when I say high winds, I'm talking about winds that could be greater than 60 miles an hour, hail that is greater than an inch as well. If we could find maybe a camera that is near the 240 loop, maybe going towards Germantown, going towards Collierville, that would be very helpful. Or even a camera that is on I-55 that is going towards North Mississippi. That would be awesome. I-55 that is going towards South Haven, that's our secondary storm. In fact, I'm going to clear this off, and I will draw a new cone for that storm that is moving east as well, around 30 miles an hour. So Horn Lake at 8:02 p.m. This is for the storm, once again, that is moving through DeSoto County as well as Shelby County. Horn Lake at 8:02 p.m. South Haven at 8:05 p.m. And just a reference, it is 8:01 p.m. right now. Capelville at 8:12 p.m. Olive Branch at 8:17 p.m. Germantown at 8:21 p.m. Bailey at 8:25 p.m. Pisgah at 8:30 p.m. and Fisherville at 8:33 p.m. So those are the places that are now our new concern. They are doing a lot of things in the National Weather Service, if you're hearing that sound in the background. So I'm about to read these bulletins for you and give you an update. So good news is that they did cancel the severe thunderstorm warning for the large storm that we were watching, and I'll draw on your screen this storm that you're seeing right there. That severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled. However, we are still keeping an eye on the storm that is moving through North Mississippi near I-55, moving towards South Haven, and I will circle that on your screen as well. And that storm is the second storm that we're watching for right now, and it does include DeSoto and Shelby County until 8:45 this evening. So we're gonna be on here with you for a moment, just because we're definitely seeing some really heavy rainfall, high winds, and hail associated with these storms. And once we feel that the public is safe, then we will take a step back. But as of right now, I will say that we want to stay with you guys right now for at least a minute until we feel a little bit more comfortable with saying that we can have the all clear right now. But I will say that we are in a level 1 and level 2 for today. In fact, I'll pull up the SPC right now so you can see exactly what's going on, and I'll zoom out just a little bit. They have updated, and they took like Dyer County out of that level 2, but we are in a level 1 right now. So we are anticipating some of these storms to continue. And if we take a look exactly at what we can expect going through the next few hours, this is a look at one of our future casts. We could be seeing these storms kind of continue to push through the Mid-South, maybe until 10 and 11 p.m. But once the worst of it, which is right about now, is gone through, that's when we'll start to feel a little bit more comfortable with saying that, you know, we're going to give the all clear. But as of right now, I will say that we're starting to see some more of these little isolated thunderstorms be on the stronger side, and seeing a lot of high winds. We've already seen maybe 13,000 customers under MLGW that are without power. I'm sure that number is fluctuating. And when we say 13,000 customers, what we're talking about is homes, right? So that could be even more people that are really impacted than what, you know, what that number reflects. You're talking about 13,000 homes with maybe 2 to 3 people in there, so a family. So that's what we're keeping an eye on for power outages as well. Here's a look at 240 and Poplar, so you can see exactly what's going on out there. Heavy rainfall, traffic is moving very slow, but you can see that people are taking it easy tonight. They have no choice thanks to the rainfall. Looks like less people are using their blinkers, their hazard lights right now. And just as a severe weather safety reminder, that is illegal. You should not be doing that at all. If you cannot see, then the rule of thumb is to pull off of an exit. Make sure that you are not impeding traffic, but to just pull over. As of right now, our radar is indicating less than an inch size hail, but that's still pretty decent size hail that could cause some damage. Once again, still the main concern right now. And as you can see, it does include just a little bit of that storm that we were watching a little bit earlier. That latest radar scan just showed us that there could be some pretty large size hail as well a little bit south of Germantown. So that's still moving through 385, less than an inch, but still pretty great size hail. Once again, that's still moving through this storm. So even though that severe thunderstorm warning is not on it, it is still causing some pretty good hail to come from it. And you can see it's a very large storm system. In fact, I'm going to take a look at some of our rotation just to make sure that we are making sure that there's no rotation in that storm, because they have not been talking about that at all. And sometimes it's better to just look for yourself and take a look at some of these winds to see what's going on. I will say that the winds are getting kind of high in that area, so I'm going to keep my eye on it, keep my eye on that storm as well in that area specifically, to be honest. But I'm going to put another track on this storm that is moving through North Mississippi and portions of Shelby County. And I will draw it out for us so we can see a little bit better of what's going on and where this storm is going. And some of these places, some of these neighborhoods, you will start to see once again. So here we go. Let's see. We have an update from MLGW. About 16,000 customers without power, and that is including homes and businesses. So that number is continuing to increase. So if you see your neighborhood on our screen right now, so South Haven at 8:05 p.m. And just for reference, you know, as you can see, that time is 8:06. And if you're watching on our app, if you're watching on Roku or any kind of streaming device, YouTube TV, reminder that this is a little bit of delayed time, right? So even though it's 8:07 right now, what you're seeing is a few minutes delayed. So you need to be prepared. Even if you're not prepared for a tornado, because you're not looking for rotation per se, you need to make sure that you have a good way to get notifications in case you lose power, because that's one of the things that we have been battling with this storm. So Plum Point at 8:08 p.m., Capelville at 8:13 p.m., Olive Branch at 8:17 p.m., Germantown at 8:22 p.m., Handy Corner at 8:24 p.m., Bailey at 8:26 p.m., Collierville at 8:29 p.m., and Fisherville at 8:35 p.m. So those are the places now where this other cell is going. It looks like they have expired one of the severe thunderstorm warnings. I think that is just an old bulletin that is going through, because that's not from this storm that we're watching now. That is this storm that was moving through Millington. They have finally expired that severe thunderstorm warning, which is good for us. But this other storm that is moving through South Haven and portions of Shelby County is the one that we will be staying on for a little while longer, unfortunately. 8:45 is when that severe thunderstorm warning will be expired, but it is definitely growing in intensity. When we first started watching this storm, it was much smaller, but as you can see, it is still definitely a larger storm. And I don't want you guys to lose track. In fact, if we could pull up a camera that is going towards 385, maybe near Forest Hill, Irene, this will show you exactly how heavy that rainfall is in this storm as well. So you're looking at two really strong thunderstorms that are moving through Shelby County right now. One of them has a severe thunderstorm warning on it, and the other one doesn't. The one that is not really warned is the one that is causing larger size, at least radar indicated hail on my end. And I will say that there is a special weather statement out for it, but still definitely need to make sure that you are paying close attention to what's going on. If you do live in Collierville, it might be just raining outside right now, but this is a good time to go ahead and maybe move in your car. Here's a live look at 385. Can you guys tell me what exit this camera is on? I think 385 in Kirby. Okay, so this is 385 in Kirby Parkway. So That is some really heavy rainfall that's moving through there. It looks like one side is moving much better than the other side, but man, that's one thing that has stayed consistent with this storm system is we are seeing torrential rainfall and some really large size hail. We have some reports of hail hitting roofs in East Memphis. And once again, we are seeing some really bad power outages right now. It's up to 16,000 customers at least, and that's including businesses and homes. And as of right now, we have just one warning that's in effect, and that is for northern DeSoto County as well as portions of Shelby County. And our main concern with these two storms will be the hail, and that is something that we are watching. This is still very large storm, so I don't want you to feel like, you know, that's not something that we're watching. And as we zoom out just a little bit, those are not the only storms that are on the radar, right? We have some really heavy rainfall that's moving a little bit north of Helena, West Helena as well. In fact, as soon as I said that, the National Weather Service just started to talk about that storm, and that is, you know, what we're seeing. This area, what we say is that it's not worked over enough. That lets us know that we haven't had a lot of rainfall really that could kind of just settle the atmosphere. Rainfall ahead of storms like this really help in the long run, but as of right now, what we're seeing is a lot of heavy rainfall, high winds, and some hail because these storms are isolated and we haven't had any rainfall, and it's been very, very warm throughout the day today. And like I said, this storm is, and this warning is in effect until at least 8:45. So I'll put this on the screen so that you all can see it as well. And if you're just now joining us, because it is 8:11, maybe you're trying to catch your show that you usually watch on this Sunday night, I will say that we are on the air because we are tracking some severe thunderstorm warnings, and there were two in Shelby County when we first started this journey, and now we're looking at just one, and it's not for either of those storms. It's for a new one, and it also includes DeSoto County, and it's headed eastward at about 30 miles an hour. Our main concern with it is 60-mile-an-hour winds, which we've seen here in the Mid-South. That definitely causes some power outages. We're also been seeing at least 1-inch size hail with this storm, and with all of the storms tonight, to be honest. And we've had reports of the hail size, not just from our National Weather Service partners, but also from our viewers that have been maybe writing in, maybe commenting on Facebook. Those are something that we continue to watch here at the station so that we can have a better idea of what's going on outside. Just an update for you. They are going to issue a special weather statement for the storm near Mariana, and that's headed towards Tunica County. So, you know, this is just, it's the spring, right? And we're all used to the weather here in the Mid-South. If you're not, if you're new here, this is what happens around this time of the year. We have these really nice days in the spring and where it's really warm, temperatures into the upper 70s. And then we start to see these isolated thunderstorms kind of develop in the afternoon. And some of them can be strong to severe. So a lot of times, especially here at ABC 24, we talk about being weather aware, and that's part of it. You want to make sure that you have multiple chargers around your house in case you lose power. If the storm hasn't arrived to you yet, you definitely want to make sure that you have it plugged in so that if you lose that power, you already have your phone charged up, or at least halfway charged until the power can be restored, because you never know. It's raining really heavy. It could be an accident that has happened. It could be all kinds of things that we're watching for. And I will say that some of these storms are really creating some really torrential downpours at times, where you could see literal sheets of rain falling from the sky. Lightning has been a problem for us, so we could maybe see some lightning hitting some power poles and things like that. So it's something, all of these threats are things that we talk about often, and it's things that we try to warn people about. And unfortunately, today is just the day where our number was pulled here in Shelby County. So here's another look at your radar and exactly what we're looking at across the Mid-South. As of right now, we do have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. Now, the one that I'm most concerned about as of right now is the one that is moving south of the metro Memphis area, but still moving through portions of Shelby County as well as DeSoto, and I'll move that back just a little bit. The good news is the National Weather Service just said that they are trimming back the edge of the DeSoto County warning because the storm has pulsed up just a little bit south of South Haven, probably seeing some large hail again. So let's take a look at that hail size And that blinking box on your screen lets us know that they are making that update to that storm. And I will say that it does still to be producing some pretty large radar indicated hail. If we could pull up the I-55 camera that is towards State Line Road near South Haven, that will be helpful so that we can let people see exactly how heavy the rainfall is in that area, and maybe even see if we're seeing any hail or anything like that. Once again, that's I-55 near South Haven. Okay, 55 cameras are down, so that lets you know. I don't know if that happened before the storm or after the storm, but heavy rainfall is happening there in that area as well. Here's a look at your radar. I was looking at the radar with the lightning, once again, to let me know how intense these storms are. And as of right now, we're not seeing a lot of intensity, but we are seeing a lot of rainfall and a lot of hail as well. And if we take a look at our hail tracks, I think this is very interesting. Lets us see over the last 2 hours how much hail has fallen and in what areas as well. And I'll move this up just a little bit so you can see exactly what I'm looking at. The worst of that storm that moved through the metro Memphis area, the blue there lets you know that that's at least 1 inch, greater than 1 inch. That's what that little box says on your screen. And this storm that is moving through South Haven and DeSoto County, nearly 1 inch. So that has been our main, concern with all of these storms here in the Mid-South, has been the hail size and exactly how large the hail has been. I've seen a picture of hail maybe around the size of a penny, but nothing bigger than that at least has been reported to the National Weather Service just yet. But I will show you this video. This is from one of our storm chasers and spotters earlier today. This was a little bit south of Dyer County. It's a time lapse, and you can see the clouds there really started to rotate. You can see the lightning there. There was not a tornado, and you won't see a funnel cloud created, but man, some of these storms, they are so strong that when you start to see the rotation in them, that definitely is concerning. You never want to see rotation from a storm that way, because if all of the storm ingredients are there, that's when we start to talk about tornadoes. The good news is, and the best news that I have to tell you tonight, is that we didn't have to worry about that with these storms that are moving through Shelby County, because we're not seeing rotation at all. All of these are just normal severe thunderstorm warnings, most of them for hail and high winds. And unfortunately, we get that so often here that we really start to see a lot of power outages and a lot of reports of hail that's really large. And thankfully, we have not seen any hail damage yet, but I've seen reports of hail. We could definitely, we've heard of reports of hail hitting roofs here in East Memphis, but we have not seen any damage, like I said, any damage from any high winds. But we do know that there's a lot of power outages if you are an MLGW camera. Here's a look. I'm looking at 240 and Poplar camera. If we could pull that up, you can see a lot of lightning happen there. Not as much heavy rainfall, but there's a lot of intense lightning that's happening. And that is, a portion of this storm, and kind of tells you the story of it as well, that even though the rainfall isn't falling as bad, it's still a really strong storm. And this is really on the tail end of it, because this is a look at 240 and Poplar Ave. And this storm that is still continuing to push eastward is the one that we are concerned about, and the one that is south of Shelby County. I'm going to do a little bit more investigating here and make sure that we are not seeing any rotation. I know that gives people kind of a little bit of relief at home when we're not talking about rotation. You can see there's a little bit of green that's moving through that Collierville area, but that's weak. We don't want to see red. If you saw red on your screen, that's where we would be concerned. And in case you're not following me there, I'll circle it there so you can see it. But that is weak rotation. We're not looking at strong rotation, which is good. That's the good news that I have to bring to you. And I give people a little bit of a sense of relief, right? I will say that we are keeping our eye on this hail core, because it looks like this hail that's in this severe thunderstorm warning that is moving through DeSoto County is getting a little bit stronger, and it's getting closer and closer to that 1 inch mark. The other storm that is moving towards Collierville, moving through 269 there, that looks to be a little bit better, because you're seeing that purple color and not the blue like we were seeing earlier this evening. And I'll clear this off for you and get back to the radar, and I'll do another cone so we can call out some more neighborhoods so you know exactly where this storm is headed and exactly what we're looking for. Once again, this is moving around 30 miles an hour. The good news is that it's also moving very, very fast. So even though this storm really started to kind of appear around 7 o'clock this evening, over the last hour or so, we've really started to see things kind of relaxing just a little bit. Here is a look at some of the neighborhoods that we're keeping an eye on for this severe thunderstorm warning. And I drew the cone kind of big. I'll give myself a little bit of grace, but I like people to know to be prepared. Mineral Wells at 8:22 p.m. That's in 2 minutes. The worst part of this storm will be on your doorstep. Olive Branch at 8:24 p.m. I know Olive Branch, you see yourself on the screen, and I'll even draw a little line there. The thing with that is that you're already seeing that rainfall, right? But the worst of the storm, where we're seeing that hail core really develop, is headed your way. If you're in Olive Branch, if you know someone in Olive Branch, give them a call, let them know, hey, this storm is headed your way, or even in southeast Shelby County, to be quite frank with you. A Handy Corner at 8:31 p.m., Bailey at 8:33 p.m., Carterville at 8:37 p.m. and that scan just updated, and I will say it does look like that storm is gaining intensity just a little bit. Piperton at 8:41 p.m., Kirk at 8:42 p.m., Rossville at 8:46 p.m., Hayes at 8:52 p.m., and Oakland at 8:55 p.m. So, man, we're really starting to see a lot of heavy rainfall and high winds associated with all of these storms and hail. I mean, we have had so many reports of hail that it's been crazy. And now in our chat, it's saying that there was a measure of 60-mile-an-hour winds at the airport. That was at 7:41 p.m. So almost an hour ago, but that lets you know how strong that storm was as it moved through Shelby County. Okay, as we get closer, though, to this storm, I'm going to clear this off the screen just a little bit so I can do a little bit more investigating, because the latest scan is showing that this storm is kind of gaining intensity just a little bit. So, yeah, it looks like this hail size could be even larger as this storm pushes eastward. And in fact, if I put a little bit of a question mark on it, an inquiry on it, at least an inch size hail and maybe even greater. So if you are in that, as you can see on your screen, if you are in that orange box there, please make sure that you are using your severe weather safety plan. I hope you have one in place. Make sure that you are away from those windows, because you're definitely seeing that hail kind of gain intensity in that storm, and you're definitely starting to see the heavy rainfall get a little bit heavier as that storm pushes eastward. I'm going to make sure that there's not any rotation in that storm, as it is intensifying just a little bit, but as of right now, that has not been one of our concerns. And we're seeing a little bit of weak rotation, but we're not seeing very strong rotation, which is good news. I like to bring people good news, especially when we're doing severe weather coverage, so that you can know what you're expecting. As far as the hail tracks are concerned, that's another weather story for us, right? In fact, as you can see from this one storm that is severe warned, most of that purple is less than an inch. But once you get to that one blue speck that we literally just saw develop with our own eyes, that lets you know that the hail size is around an inch at the very least. It could be a little bit larger than that. It's all radar indicated. There's a new scan for you. You can see that purple area, and I'll circle that on your screen. I like for you all to follow along, so I'm not just rambling, but that purple on your screen that you're seeing there, that got smaller. That area got a little bit smaller. So that lets you know that this latest scan shows that the storm is weakening. And that's what happens sometimes, right? With these severe thunderstorm warnings, what happens is we call it recycling. So the storm gets very strong, and then it gets weak again. Then it gets strong again, and then it gets weak again. So that's another reason why they keep severe thunderstorm warnings on for at least 30 minutes, so that you can know, okay, is this storm weak enough for us to feel like the public isn't in danger, or we're not seeing any power outages, tree damage, home damage, car damage? Those are the things that we look at, not just as meteorologists, but also with the National Weather Service, that we talk about, and that reports of hail help us determine how strong these storms really are. When we look at these radar, a lot of times, you know, it's a radar. So it's doing all these different scans, and it's trying to get us the latest information, but we have to make sure that we are doing our research research is what we call it, ourselves to see exactly what the people are facing at home, because we're in the studio, but we are making sure that you all are safe at home. That's our #1 priority. So I know that some people probably are like, let's just get back to the show, but we want to make sure that you are safe at home. If it was you that was in this one storm, I'm sure that you would be a little bit concerned. I will say that the severe thunderstorm warning should expire around 8:45, and as of right now, it's 8:24. So in the next 5 minutes or so, they will probably make a decision on exactly what to do, and hopefully they go ahead and scale it back just a little bit. But I'm going to zoom out so we can see. What I like to do is do a reset so we can see exactly what's going on across the Mid-South. There's other storms, right? So that is what we're watching for, and this is all part of a warm front that's moving through the Mid-South. Our temperatures won't be dropping, but all of these storms that you're seeing across this line, those are storms that are headed our way, right? I will say that some people that are behind these storms, we might see some rainfall, but where you see these beautiful lines that I'm drawing, we could be seeing things get a little bit more settled outside, which means that the storms probably won't continue to be as strong, but we're definitely seeing some really high wind gusts with these storms as they are developing. Here in Shelby County, we should be okay as far as severe weather is concerned. This one little cell that we're keeping our eye on has just been really dumping us with a lot of rainfall. And if we take a look at our radar and lightning, yeah, this storm is getting really, really weak. So I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident that they will probably let this severe thunderstorm warning end a little bit early here in the Mid-South. But I don't want you to let your guard down. You want to make sure that you are paying close attention to the weather. I want to make sure that you are paying close attention to the forecast over the next few hours so that you are aware of exactly what's going on and you know, what kind of threats that you're looking for. The good news with today is that we were not talking about a tornado threat. This is just a heavy rain, high wind, and hail threat. Still could cause a lot of damage, and we are definitely seeing a lot of power outages here, but we're not seeing what we would consider very strong rotation in the storms. Okay. 13,000. Okay, so we just got an update from our producer that there are 13,000 MLGW customers without power. That's still a lot, and that's homes and businesses. But I mean, when you're talking about 13,000 customers, that's really, take that number and multiply it by 2, because there's at least 2 people in most households. So you're talking about a lot of people right now without power, and it's hot outside. In fact, let's take a look at our current temperatures, because that lets you know how warm it really is outside for people to be without power. It's 62 degrees here in the Metro Memphis area right now, but check out Tunica, 76, 73 degrees. That rainfall definitely cooled it off just a little bit here in the Mid-South, in the Metro Memphis area, but it's still a little bit muggy for people to be without power tonight. And like I said, I will say that they did scale back our severe weather outlook for the rest of this evening, but we are still looking at some pretty heavy rainfall that could be continuing. I will say that they scaled back that severe thunderstorm warning just a little bit. It's so little that you can barely even see it on the screen there. I'll zoom in just a little bit there. Okay, thank you. So you're looking at a very isolated severe thunderstorm warning there, and they're really just keeping it because of the hail and the hail size that this is creating. I think that they should be making a decision on this thing. They can cancel it 15 minutes early. I think that's the earliest that they can cancel it. So might have at least 2 more minutes with me on air, and then we will get back to American Idol. I know a lot of people are antsy, but we want to make sure that everyone that watches us and gets our television station is safe at this time. Once again, hail is our main concern, and if you are trying to watch American Idol, we will get to it, I promise. Once again, severe thunderstorm warning right now for Shelby County until 8:45, and then we'll start to see things really settling down here in the Mid-South. So it's important that you are weather aware during these times of the year. While this wasn't a tornado threat, you can still see a lot of power outages, and it does include Shelby and DeSoto County. I will say that we're not seeing many power outages in DeSoto County, a few, but not a lot. St. Francis has maybe around 200 outages in St. Francis County over in Arkansas. So we are seeing a lot of outages because the winds were very, very high in this area. As of right now, I will say that I'm going to let it get one more scan through before we give it back, because we've been seeing this storm kind of gain intensity and then lose its intensity just as fast. So I don't want to get off the air just yet until we know for sure that this hail core is not as strong. And that's the one thing that we have been watching. Like I said, no rotation. We're not looking at any rotation. There's not a tornado threat with this storm, but there is definitely a high wind threat as well as hail. And that has been our main concern. If we take a look at our intensity with our lightning, that lets us know that it's not as intense either. So as we prepare to let you all go back to regular programming, I will say that as you go through the rest of this evening, you need to make sure that you are aware that there is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect right now. And across the Mid-South, there are a few other cells that are continuing to develop. We only come on air for Shelby County, if there's a severe thunderstorm warning there or a tornado warning. So don't let your guard down. If you don't live in Shelby County, if you live on the outskirts, or if you live in Arkansas or North Mississippi or even other portions of West Tennessee, please make sure that you are weather aware so that you know that these winds have been at least 60 miles an hour. You've been seeing hail that has been at least the size of a penny or larger, maybe even golf ball at sometimes. You just haven't seen many reports of it coming in, and the winds being around 60 miles an hour. That's when you start to see those power outages happen. So make sure that you are prepared for that. Make sure that you have your phones charged. Make sure that you communicate with your family that might be out on a busy Sunday evening as they prepare to get ready for the week to start on tomorrow morning. Now, I know a lot of people have seen I know that a lot of people have, they're prepared for the eclipse day tomorrow. I will say that some of this cloud cover will be moving out of here. We will start to see a little bit of partly cloudy skies. If you live north of Memphis, you should be in the clear, but some people in North Mississippi, unfortunately, it's going to be way too cloudy. So that's something to definitely be aware of. I will say that the good news is they are seeing the same thing that I am seeing, that the intensity of these storms have definitely gone down. So if we continue to see that happen, we will we'll see this severe thunderstorm warning cancel. Here's a look at our app information. This is a great time to go ahead and download it. It is free in the Apple Store as well as on Google Play. All you have to do is you can search for the ABC24 Memphis app, or you can text 901-321-7520. You can text app to that number and we will send you a link directly to your phone. And if for whatever reason, if you lose power, we will make sure that we're on air and you can get our live stream at that location. But for now, I will say that because we are not really expecting a great threat right now, I'm going to let you all go back to American Idol and enjoy your Sunday evening. I'm still continuing to watch these storms. I will be here. I will give you another update on our sister station, CW30 at 9 p.m. We'll be on for 30 minutes there, and I'll have another updated look for you. Once again, CW30 at 9 p.m. I'll give you another update there. But if you are in DeSoto and Shelby County, just make sure that you are aware that some of these storms are strong and you're looking at some heavy rainfall and high winds. I will say that I think that the threat to the public is not as great. So I'm going to let you all return to your regularly scheduled programming of American Idol. Once again, I'm Chief Meteorologist with ABC 24.